Alright friends, you're welcome to today's live broadcast. So today we want to look at how to sell with stories. And to discuss this topic, I have my friend Alright, so you're welcome. So let me quickly invite Man for All Seasons. So let me invite someone. As you are joining, please invite some of your friends. As you are joining, invite your friends. So today's training, we are going to be looking at how to sell with stories. I'm trying to see the button now. Just hold on, I'm trying to get him on board. As you are joining, please invite your friends. We want to discuss how to sell with stories. How to sell with stories. That's what we are going to be looking at today. How do you sell with stories? What are some of the things you need to do if you want to start selling with stories? So I have no other person to discuss this topic with except, hold on guys. Let me turn on the lights. How to sell with stories. So as you join, please invite your friends. We want to look at how do you sell with stories. How do you sell with stories on social media? Especially on social media. How do you sell with stories? That's what we are going to be looking at. I have someone to discuss with this topic with. Man for All Season. That's his name. Man for All Season. Our guest today, I will introduce him once he comes on air. He's a good storyteller. I've listened to some of his stories and I said this is the kind of person we need to have to join what we are doing here. He's extremely good when it comes to telling stories that convert. He's a good storyteller. He's a voice-over artist. He's very exceptional in what he does. He's very good with what he does. So I think he's very good with what he does. So if you've been struggling to sell any product or sell your product or your service, you've been struggling to make sales in your business, the primary reason why it's happening that way is because you've not mastered how to sell with stories. Your ability to tell stories that convert will make your audience to patronize you. Okay, while we wait for him to join, let me quickly welcome all of us that are here. We have Don Allen, we have Terex, we have Emelda. You're welcome. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. Our guest is almost here. I'm adding him right away. In the next 1 hour, we'll be done with this training. Chris, Vicky, you're welcome. Thanks for joining. As you join, please invite your friends. Don Ale, thanks for joining. Good to have you here. As you join, please invite your friends. All right, we have Man for All Season here. We have Man for All Season here. His name is Light Egbujie, and he's popularly known as Man for All Season. He's the best storyteller I told you guys about. I've followed his story for quite some time, and I'm impressed with what he's doing. So I told myself I need to bring this kind of person on board so that he can share with us where he gets this kind of inspiration to create powerful stories like this. The kind of story he tells are the type that you can listen to it and not want to buy what he's selling. You can listen to his story and shy away from should I say listening to him over and over again, because he has this kind of he has this storytelling skill that keeps you glued to his page until you are done reading it or you are done listening to it. Obani, you're welcome. Kingsley, you're welcome. Latif, glad to have you here. Please, as you are joining, please invite your friends. Invite your friends as you are joining. So if you've been struggling to sell your product or your service, the person you're about to listen to today is someone who does it exceptionally well, and he has used storytelling to build his business on the internet. He's a voiceover artist, so if you are looking for someone who will do a voiceover for you, or you want to advertise your product or services, and you are looking for someone that will use storytelling to captivate the attention of your audience, Man for All Season, Mr. Light is the best person to hire. So I want to give him the opportunity to share with you where he gets this kind of inspiration and where you too can get inspiration. So if you have any product you are struggling to sell, I want you to pay attention. If possible, you can even record this video so that you can have it in your phone. You listen to it over and over again. He does it exceptionally well, and I think he should be based in Enugu or so, right?
Yes.
Okay. He's based in Enugu and he sells ties. So if you are looking for someone who is reliable, you are building a house, or you are into construction, or you are into building, you are looking for someone who is reliable that can supply ties to you anywhere in Nigeria, whether you are in Lagos, you are in Abuja, you are in anywhere in the southeast or south, and you are looking for someone who is reliable. You are not even in Nigeria. So you are looking for someone that you can send money to and say, okay, I want you to supply so quantity of ties to my builders. Light is someone who is reliable. He has been able to build a brand for himself on the internet. So I don't just bring someone, anyhow kind of person on my platform. I vet the person over a period of time. I watch the person. I've listened to him for more than 3 months now, silently following what he's doing to know if he's someone who follows or who is an honest person. So I took my time to listen to him over and over again. I can practically tell if someone is dubious by just listening to the person. That's the very good thing about me. I don't invite random people to my platform, and he's not the kind of person that make bogus claims. If you followed me for a long time, you know that I don't like people that make bogus claims on the internet. I made $600 million. I made this kind of I don't follow those kind of people. I follow people that teach things that people can benefit from, and it takes an honest person to be able to impact knowledge and do it without trying to wash your brain. You understand? So Light is that kind of person. So if you are looking for someone that will supply ties to you, Pamela, you're welcome. Glad to have you here. Shola, you're welcome. Glad to have you here. Kingsley, you're welcome. So if you're looking for someone that can supply ties, you hire him. Tell him the quantity of ties you want. Tell him the kind of ties or the design of ties that you want. He will supply it to anywhere you are in Nigeria. Any part of Nigeria, he will supply. Secondly, if you're looking for someone that will do video for you, you want an expert that will do video coverage for you using storytelling. This is this is what differentiates him from every other person that does video. He uses storytelling to pass his message. So if you are looking for someone that will use storytelling to captivate your audience, maybe you want to advertise a product. Most of you that follow me here, you are into e-commerce. You want to sell a product or you want to advertise your services. He will use storytelling to capture that. Your audience will be amazed. So that is why I said, I need to bring this kind of person here. I've listened to him tell stories about his ties business. Of course, I shared one of them the other day. I couldn't just resist. I had to hit the share button. I said, my audience needs to listen to this guy. So, Mr. Light, man for all season, we want to welcome you to our live broadcast. This is what I do from time to time. I bring experts here to educate my audience. I do it a lot. I educate my audience, but from time to time, I bring other experts to do justice to what they are experts in. So we are glad to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. The floor is yours now. Bello, you're welcome. And please, before he takes over, if you have any question you want to ask, put it in the comment section. We'll scroll up and down to get all your questions. Any question you have and it has to do with storytelling, it's off. Sorry, let me invite him back. Any story you have, any question you have as regards to storytelling or sales, marketing, just let me know in the comment section. Drop your question so that when he's done, I'll be able to attend to the questions, and the ones that are directed to him, he will also attend to it. The floor is yours, Light.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Emenike. Thank you for having me here. It's an honor. It's an honor because the fact that storytelling for me is something I've always liked. I think as a child, growing up, I always liked. In fact, I'm a writer. Began from writing, then like I started like telling them, like in a vocally and possibly using videos. And what I can say here is that I want it to be like a two-way street. There are times like you can actually throw questions at me like from your own end, and I'll answer. Or I'm going to give like a general, like more like a summary of what you expect me to say. And before I go any further, I want to thank each and every one of you guys on the comment section who decided to join us. And one thing I can actually assure you is that before the end of the live, you can actually pick a thing or two with regards to how you're going to use storytelling to make sales. And apologies for my light setting. Hopefully the light is going to come up anytime soon, hopefully. So my name is Uchenna Kingsley Egbujie Light. I'm in Enugu. I sell tiles and I do storytelling. I think he has told you virtually a lot of things about me. I'm a voiceover artist, and in Igbo, in Pidgin, in my own dialect, and as well in English. I began my business of tile selling 2022 at the fall, I think somewhere around June, yes. And the story I shared is that when I began that business, bro, it was rough. You had me having to spend close to 3 months. I think yes, roughly 2 months in my shop, 3 rather, and nobody like no one actually came in to ask me, guy, they sell, or like even asking me the price. No one even had anything like that of such asking me. Bro, that thing did something to me mentally. Now I understand the basics why too many persons would rather want to do like work as an employee, like as an employee instead of opening business. But if you're not mentally strong, doing business like guy is really tough. But we thank God for the grace. Everything we learn, we grow. So then one that was in my shop having like one of those moments, like when I'm living in my head, and a very good friend of mine that works with me in a radio house came to me. I'm like, guy, you don't live on the radio now. You don't come where they sell tiles. How you they call? I said, Baba, it's not easy. Oh. I've been struggling. The guy tell me, say, Papa, you again go on light in a cool. How can he be saying something like when you are literally too good with words? When the guy said that thing, Baba, like guy, I had what we call introspection. I went inside. I'm like, okay, I see where this guy is coming from. The guy told me that most of my stories I put on my Facebook wall, that most of them are things that I can actually, since I'm a creative writer, I can actually get creative with my art and inculcate the whole tiling thing into it. I'm like, okay, not bad. So now that thing was like a distraction from the whole bad market thing. I went home and began to create stories. Like I began to get creative with words. I went to my laptop and some of my old works, like I began to edit many of them. And I saw spaces where I can actually bring in my creativity into tiling. When I in the line where I sell tiles, like not too fast. I think I can say like I'm the only creative person like in this regard where we sell. Many of them are like let's say like the regular. You come to the shop in the morning, you sit, wait for customers to come and all. So when that whole thing started coming in, now I started seeing like an edge of me having it, like having over those guys. Even like today now, while I was in my shop, like I made a video about tiles and I told story, and some of them were passing and they were like, what's this guy doing? But that is a story for another day. So I wrote my first story, which I said about when I began to sell tiles, like my experiences. And I saw the way like that story had to bring a lot of people close. People could easily relate with my experience as someone that is trying to sell tiles. The whole having to go, like the dry run before the whole thing starts setting up. And I found my peace in the sense that I didn't see any need for me to feel like I was having bad markets. I now found, okay, since I'm passionate about art, like I'm a creative now, I can actually take that creative part of me, blend it with tiles, and let's see what comes after it. So it began this way. Now, storytelling has the power, emotions, like that, like that's a very great tool, emotion. No matter how tough a man, a woman can be, like there is a certain trigger, emotional, like it touch such persons, and you are awakening a certain level of curiosity and intrigue and interest in them. So the story I wrote about that boy who came to buy tiles from me was, like I said before, that thing never happened. But I went inside and I'm thinking, how do you get somebody to actually pay attention to something, that will, drag them close to see what you have to offer? And bro, drafted that story. In my room here, I was in my mirror and narrated it because most of my works, but almost all my works are things I do often, like I don't read from anywhere. So I take my time to rehearse them so I can internalize them. When I finished that story, I put that story on TikTok, but like the ground wasn't like I expected. So I now came to Facebook, put that story up. When I put that story up, I had 901 followers on Facebook here. And someone was like, guy, this work good though. How about you like boost your page with that? I told him, bro, I don't want to boost anything. Like I'm going to wait till, like maybe possibly God brings people to follow me. That story after everything gave me close to about 5 to 6,000 followers. That story alone.
Wow.
So in anything you are doing as someone that is making sales, look out for something, look out for emotions. Look out for something that can actually, okay, let me just bring some. Okay, let's say like you're someone that like you're into a hair product. Someone called me on Facebook and he wants to give me like that thing to run for him as someone that does hair that treats hair growth. Now, I think I'm going to give like a sketch of what I want to do for this guy, even though that we are still talking. If he comes across this, I don't know, but I just want to give you guys a practical example. I pictured myself. In fact, I wrote it like I'm seated like in a barbing salon, and I saw this guy next to me. I had this very beautiful haircut, and the kind of hair that I have, like, is something that I wish like I could actually have hairs like that on the guy's hair. Like to make me look, have this kind of swag and all. So all the time, like the barber was trying to make that guy look smart. The only thing in my mind is, how do I get such hair on top of my head? So while everything was now, nobody knows where the story is going. Remember, now while all this thing was going on, and now ask the guy a question. I tell him, Baba, this hair, wait, this your hairstyle, I like him. And the guy was like, for this my godimaba. Say possibility like to actually get this kind of thing on my hair. Say that the thing is not there. Meanwhile, a lady that was doing POS somewhere, like a lady that was outside doing POS, like where the thing not even concerned. Now suddenly walked into the place and told the guy like you heard the both of us say something about hair growth and all those things that she she is a testimony that like there are things you can actually do to your hair that will make your hair come alive. Now I'm giving you a sketch. The whole thing is scripted, and there are places where like where I evoked emotions, like I said, because that thing is a very powerful tool. If you as a person is looking to get people to be interested in what you do, in storytelling, look out for emotion. If it's like two persons, there has to be a place where like there's a balance of emotion, like where somebody like is at the receiving end, where you put your listeners, your yes, people that are watching you in a position where they're expecting a certain level of emotional reaction from either of both party. If you're able to figure that thing out in anything you are doing as a person, that is mastery. And if you get into repetition of that thing, like it becomes like an art, like you don't get to struggle with it anymore. Now remember, it's not really something easy. You have to understand the place of repetition and you having to be inconsistent about it. You have times when you can actually do it, put it out there and see the way people tend to react with what you said or the video. Their reaction will now tell you if you did well or you as a person didn't do well. So what I'm saying in essence is that storytelling, as a term, storytelling is a very powerful tool. It's a very, very powerful tool. And any storytelling that isn't bothered on emotion, expectation of emotion is happening, like awakening an emotion, like it doesn't actually cut it. That's why you see that sometimes sad stories, like some of these sad stories goes. Someone can actually come and just, find a way to understand how words are used and tell that thing without understanding of how words are used. Just trigger you with some certain use of words and realize that you're like this. 30 minutes, like you have no idea time is passing. This thing is an art. So the sum of this entire thing is in anything you are doing, before you sometimes take your time, don't be in a hurry, but look for where emotions comes into place. If you can find that balance where emotion can come into place in any storytelling, regard to people and then people's attention, that thing is going to like take you a very far way. And another thing I would suggest is humor is not something everybody has. Humor is something that not too many person has as a gift, but all these things can be learned. How can this thing be learned? Understanding that when you have two persons in a story, you should be able to be flexible enough to embody the character. Like assume yourself in the mind of this person. If you can be able to embody a certain character, assume yourself in that character, and in that flexibility of character, you're in this character now. So in your mind, you are playing. What do I like? What can I actually do to bring the story like to life? These are questions. And if you as a person, like if you are able to understand this place, let me tell you, storytelling will only take you a little while, but that mastery will come and possibly great things will come from it. So, in summary, emotion first. Number two, humor. Humor is another key thing that sells stories. And number three, understanding the place of language. Language is something that, as an Igbo person, there's a kind of story I will do now in my language, my lingo, and I'll find too many persons feeling, oh, nah, this guy to come more my brother being how. In the sense that it can be English language, but if there's a place where like where you can actually get to blend your own tongue as a person, it helps because that thing makes people feel like they're part of what you are doing, like it's a relative kind of thing. You are speaking your language in something that is very, very fun, and someone I know now can want them. This guy and my person, no. And having given them something beautiful and having to blend your language on this, like can be Igbo, Yoruba, or any lingo at all, makes that story like a complete package. So I'm happy to be here to share this story with you. And for now, I'll just have to, hold a little, and I want you to ask me any question you want to ask me, Emenike. If anyone here has a question to ask me, I'm going to answer if I say something else.
Okay, a quick recap to what Kingsley said. He said if you want to tell a story that will capture people's attention, you must attach emotions to it. And when it comes to emotions, there are different kinds of emotion. It can be happy, it can be sad moment, it can be excitement, but emotion must be attached to it. The moment you remove emotion from story, the story becomes valueless and nobody will connect to it. The emotional connection you can establish with a story is as a result of what you do or what you say. Include if you are doing video, even your facial expression, like he said, adds to it. Your facial expression adds to the value of the story you are trying to tell. He also made mention of humor. He said, even if you don't have humor, you can learn it. It's not something that we will say, okay, if you are not born with it, for that reason, you don't have to create content that have humor in it. He said you can learn it. So while we are waiting for more information, please drop your questions. He also made mention of repetition. There are certain things you will say. In fact, for me, when I'm writing, if I want to emphasize a particular word, I put it in capital letter. So maybe I say you can never achieve success, and I want to emphasize that never. I'll put it in capital letter. When you are reading it, it has a way, the way you understand it will be entirely different if I had put that in a small letter. So the same thing applies when you are talking, when you are trying to tell the story verbally or in written form. Always know when to repeat words. There are words you can repeat over and over again. It sticks in the mind of your audience. And those words you are repeating in that your story is something that will help to drive the emotion down to the heart or your mind of your audience. So he also made mention of language. He said there are words that are better said in your own language. I always say it all the time. There are words you are trying to explain something, but you can't really find the right word to use. So you have to put in your own language. And he says something here that the essence of using that language is for helping you to connect to people that are from your tribe or from your region or for people that understand your language. So the moment they hear that particular word, this is my language, they will pay more attention. Even people that don't understand the language will begin to ask questions. In fact, this thing can also help to increase engagement. You start seeing them asking, what does this particular thing mean? Before you know it, somebody will try to interpret it, another person will give interpretation, another person will, before you know it, engagement will begin to come and the story will go viral. So don't shy away from adding your language when you feel it is necessary. So let's welcome other people that are here while we take some questions. Okay, Jacob, you're welcome. Buchi, you're welcome. Iwunze, you're welcome. Glad to have you all here. Good to have you here. Raman, you're welcome. All right, so let me take this question. Don Allen said, I have a question that doesn't look like it. Please leave this video once it is ended. I wish it to not end. This one is not a question now. Okay. Okay, Kingsley is trying to give us a recap of what we are learning. Okay. Kingsley said that any storytelling without emotion won't be compelling to your audience. I've not seen any question here yet. Light, there is no question yet, but let's proceed. Let's see if more people can come on board. Please, if you have questions, like I said, drop it in the comment section. This is the best way for you to get free consultation from Light. If you meet him on a private level, you are going to pay. If you meet him on a private level, you will pay. So if you have any question that has to do with sales, marketing, storytelling, drop it in the comment section. He just told us the story of how he started, that in the first 3 months of his business, nobody even knocked at his business door. But through storytelling, he was able to change the narrative, and people around him are still wondering where he gets this kind of customer volume from. Okay, this is one. How do you tell a story from an inspirational angle of content writing? That's the first question we have here. So how do you tell a story from an inspirational angle of content writing?
Okay, here is the answer, ba. When content writing is something that has to do with ideas, and in every form of creation comes from the mind. How do you tell a story from an inspirational angle of?
Let me bring him on board. His network is bad. So I'm adding him back. His network. Okay, he's back.
Sorry about that. I had a little network glitch. Sorry.
Okay.
So tell him, tell Kingsley, like, tell him that if it's possible, like, let him try rephrasing that question, if it's possible.
Okay, he has another one here. He said, how do you also tell a story from a mental health care perspective?
From a mental health care perspective. Okay, now, I said something earlier about like embodying a character. When you embody a certain character, you are now living that character, and if you are living that character, you are more like you are more like a figure where people can actually relate with regards to that thing you are trying to paint. Let's say now you as a person, they want you to be a conductor. Like you put on, your wear, you hang on by the door. You as a person, like you are living that conductor person. So you telling a story from a mental health care perspective, let's take a mental health care, a person like a doctor, the light is here, possibly a doctor, whoever it is. Now, they're going to be sharing their experiences like they've had with some of their patients. Let's say like might be cancer, it might be, sorry, I don't know how if Facebook maybe tend to react to like words like this. I don't know, but what I'm trying to say in essence is that if you are doing anything of perspective, first of all, you need to bear in mind, like you need to leave that person. Try to wonder how the person thinks, know what the person likes, the person dislikes. Like when you embody that character of a person in full, that is when you can actually tell a story from a perspective of such person, embodying the person's character. That's just what I understand in this question, and I hope this answer is something that you are looking for, Mr. Udokingsi Akwawo. Okay.
Yeah, you did justice to that. That point you mentioned, that you should embody the character, is very essential. You put
Yes.
yourself
Tools. Yes.
you feel the pain. Like the one he talked about, the inspirational angle, you see the end. What do you want the person to achieve? Or what do you want the person to feel after reading or listening to the story? It must come from the place of inspiration. You want the person to be inspired. It means any form of inspirational story must move from failure to success. So maybe how the person started failing and how the person began to succeed. So the person will see himself that, okay, I can actually put myself in the shoe of this person. If this person was able to achieve this, I can also achieve this. And it becomes more interesting if that person has the same background, the same qualification, the same age bracket as your audience. So let's say you are trying to tell a story to people above 40, an inspirational story for people above 40. So it means the character you demonstrate in that story must be someone above 40, so that those people above 40 can actually see themselves in the same age bracket. There must be something common. Any story that must end up inspiring people must have something common. For instance, when I talk to people about my story of moving to Lagos from Aba, many people see themselves in the same shoe. So they'll be like, okay, if this guy can actually move from Aba to Lagos and he's doing well for himself, it means I can also do it. And there is no special skill that I have that they don't have. The same university certificate or whatever, the same NY certificate they have is also what I have. So there's actually no difference between them and me. So if this person can do it, I can also do it. If freelance writing, for instance, or blogging is what helped him to establish himself, that means if I go into freelance writing or go into blogging or go into internet marketing, I can as well establish myself. So it becomes easier for them to connect to my story. So this is a very interesting one. I think there's another question here. Let me see. Okay, he has already answered this. All right, Light, you can proceed. If you have more
Okay.
things.
Okay. Let me just a little. Udo Kingsley. Is it Udo? Okay, Udo. How do you tell a story from an inspirational angle? For instance, okay, I think Emenike just gave an instance that he has one. Now, how can you one about one? Fine, though. So Emenike shared the story of him having to leave Enyimba of Aba to come to Lagos, and God has been faithful. The guy is thriving. I'm happy to hear that. Now, I told you guys of how I spent close to 2-3 months in my shop without making like a sale. Even when like I felt like giving up, when my friends from the radio house were calling me, guy, if that business is not going, come back to the radio. We need you in the radio house. Like those words kept coming, but for a reason or two, I just kept hanging on, believing God until things turned up. And another thing that actually helps is that when it comes to something like this, there's a place of you like being a critical thinker. How do I mean? First of all, what sets me apart in this style thing is like what I have passion for. I'm a creative. You as a person can actually be doing something else, and you go on inside, you kick back, check yourself, and the question you'll be asking yourself: is there something I am good at? If there's something I'm good at, I can actually aid what I'm doing right now. How do I tend to blend what I am good at with that thing, that is in front of me? See, the mind is a powerful tool. What I'm saying is that if someone gives you something to do now, and the next thing you tell the person is that I cannot do this. The moment your mind conceive that fact that I cannot do this, automatically, Baba, that will not work. But once someone gives you something that you cannot do, and you tell yourself, how do I make this thing work? The moment that how comes up, Baba, your mind will begin to flood with many possible ways of how that thing can actually work. So it's a position of you understanding that you as a person going through any phase in life, there are persons maybe you might encounter in 2 to 3, 4 years to come that will actually need the testimony that you got from something that you were going through to encourage them. So it's a matter of you are in something is not actually going the way you want it. Before you actually give up, yes, positive thinking, yes. Before you actually give up, you can actually ask questions and think of ways to make that thing work. The interesting thing is that anytime you tend to, get past this particular phase, that thing makes you tougher mentally, it makes you tougher psychologically. If you're the kind of spiritual person, I think it also aids you spiritually. So in summary, to what Udo ask is that Your experience through rough times to great times is not just for you. That experience is for someone else. There's one thing I have on my page. I keep saying that we live our lives for others. Anything that you own, anything that you're experiencing is not for you. It's for the people around you. The money you are making is not just solely for you. That experience, that thing you are going through now, if God in His mercy finally gets you through it, you are now an authority in that place. What I heard, once an authority in that place, someone else, maybe you might be in a boss, somebody might be complaining in a boss, maybe making phone calls. Say, bros, come. This thing you're complaining about, few years ago, I had this experience. So come, let me let you in on what you can actually do to come out of that place. Now, you are now a source of light to such person like who is confused and lacked clarity. So we all we are connected in one way or the other. And what connects us basically our life's experience. Yes, storytelling and life experience connects us like in many ways that we as persons can ever imagine. So that is it. Anything you are going through, if you are joining this life now or you are growing a business, you are going through a certain established, like you are trying to start something and that thing is actually, going back and forth. Baba, be patient with yourself. Be patient. Be patient. If you are diligent, and another thing is be very mindful of your mindset while you are waiting. Be very mindful. If you don't believe in anything, you can fall for anything. Give yourself time to grow. And I can guarantee you, if you get through that phase, Papa, mentally, it go solid. It go solid. Like, okay, I'm speaking about it. You are solid. And once you are solid, you realize that it will be hard, like for anything that has the same capacity again to shake you. That is the importance of going through some of these struggles. It gives you like a mental foundation and you're strong. That one is something else. Yeah.
That's good. So he said something. He said your experiences are not for you alone. So when
Nah.
you go through certain things in life, know that God is trying to pass you through that phase so that you'll be able to inspire other people.
Yeah.
And he said your experiences also help you to build capacity. The difference
Yes.
between you and the next person are the experiences you've had. So if you've had certain degrees of experiences in the past, you become an authority over those issues. So when things come up in that area, you'll be able to stand. So before we proceed, let's welcome a few persons that joined us. Cynthia just joined us and she has left a comment here. Lily Kitchen, glad to have you here. Okay, Chibu, glad to have you here. Sposh, Multilink Josine, glad to have you here. Mr. Gabriel, glad to have you here. Peter Noah, you're welcome. Ogi Kenneth, Ogi, you're welcome. Glad to have you here. Dare, glad to have you here. Oluchi, you're welcome. Engineer Dave, glad to have you here. Okay. Emeka Anyanwu, Priscilla, glad to have you here. Okay, Juliet, it's a pleasure to have you here. Ugochi, Brian, Cyprian. All right. Tunde, glad to have you here. All right. So these are the new people that just joined us. Okay. And let's proceed before we begin to wrap up what we have for today.
Okay, I want to welcome you guys that just joined us a little late. It's nice to have you guys join me here. Before I continued, like I used to do the regular comedy thing, yes, because I'm really good with languages. I can do Calabar, I can do Nsuka, I can do Igbo, I can do some of this foreign Aba, this thick dental Aba accent. So having done this thing for a while, I realized like the engagement, like they were not really common, and I put in so much energy into having to create this kind of content. And the moment I started doing storytelling, like I noticed this shift, and I started like to take my energy into, udong bobari. So, asong udo asong. So the and that angle to storytelling is bad. Someone asked me something 2 days ago in my shop. He asked me, "Oh, how do you do storytelling so well?" And I called him and said, bro, sit down. You as a person can do storytelling. The guy was like, how? I said that any limitation you put on yourself is something you put on yourself. As human beings, like see, there are no limits to anything we can do. We are limitless beings. Anything any man is doing, it means you as a person can do it. The question is, how do I do it like you? But I gave him a different perspective. I told him that storytelling is something even you can do. But in what language are you more comfortable with? Is it Ibibio? Is it Igbo? Is it Hausa? Is it Yoruba? Is it Efik? Mercy Nelson. Is it Efik? Now, that is just because here on Facebook, I have a lady I follow you on Facebook. This girl does storytelling in Osaka. Bro, you will laugh. One day you are going to laugh. See, this girl does storytelling so well. So somehow, me and her, because I do the same thing, we connected. And when I was relating with this girl, like, her English is not that so good, but this girl can chop on soccer. And at a point, this girl built an audience around the soccer. And you come to that page, you see people laughing. So storytelling can actually be in your own dialect. If you are selling tiles, and you actually want to Cynthia, hi, thank you for joining us. If you are selling tiles and you so much believe in like you want to actually reach out to people, and your concern is that I don't know how to speak English, but you can speak pidgin. You can actually speak Igbo, Hausa. When they go inside, okay, now let's assume now, like I'm a guy in Aba, yo Aba, you know what I'm saying now, and I'm a ties. And I want to tell people that I said ties in your Aba. This is how I'm going to do it. Now, there's something in my mind. I'm having this picture in my mind that since I'm in Aba, for instance, everybody in Aba, like let's say 90% of people in Aba understand Igbo. And there's something funny about the way that accent comes when he plays. So I get into character. And you learn and they know Jamaica, and they know my no. I don't have a na-achọ ịgụta boy enwere m elele na-edere ma nke a na-ama na kichin ma nke a na-ama na bafrum boy ihe ole na-edere enwere m ya even ibe na ya ọka aba amara m tais na ọfịs m na ya ọka aba.
Oh my goodness.
So now you are laughing now see the power of humor. Even if yes now even if like you didn't want to buy tiles, but because I've actually made you laugh, maybe tomorrow I'm consistent, next tomorrow I'm consistent with something like this. But even if your neighbor wants to buy a tile, tell and say, guy, wait, get one guy I give for Facebook. That guy is set ties, the guy correct. That's the person will naturally come, go to my page, see the same video, and and that is possibly, and they can imagine that anybody that understands your language, let's say in your village, because internet is a very, very powerful tool. Person feed they like London or they America, where they understand your language. Meanwhile, you there Aba, and the person maybe live Aba, can't go London, and can't build house for Aba. You can't come for like event like Facebook, and you are telling stories. You are telling stories. Okay, let's say now, for instance, somebody that grew up in Ikorobasi, that's in Akwa Ibom, finally traveled to London. Say accent and accent. No matter how far you always there. So let's say me, my name is Ifyo, and I'm at Ikorobasi, Oborakara Junction. I'm telling tales. I'll come and say, my people, how are they today now? I want to say again new product. In terms say maybe say but they do you and you won't buy ties. Website if you there, you do them, you're comfortable. I get on my job now long job. How many guys you want them? 2,000 come to go get them. Now you are not speaking English. You're not speaking pidgin. You're actually in your dialect. And I can guarantee you, somebody that is speaking English somewhere, can actually be there, and you when they speak English, you are doing your thing, and that person connects that local thing you are doing. But that laughter don't sell you. Leave that person is speaking English. The person will reach out to you and say, let's do business. So storytelling is not limited to only English language. Papa, own your language. And you'll be surprised that, in fact, you actually embody the whole thing well when you speak your dialect more than when you are speaking English. Because see, let me tell you, if I speak my language here, there's a passion, like it just overwhelms me. And I do that thing so well that, Papa, I don't know. In fact, I think it's a grace that God gave me as a guy, but Ogare for that young, you know. You never that young, and they come for that young, wait for me, and they come up. So I'm actually giving us the thing whereby, okay, now see another perspective. If you are thinking of content creation as a person, and maybe you are wondering, storytelling never goes out of fashion. Stories are happening around us on a daily. Steady things are happening. All you need to do is find a way to interpret them. Because what I do is that storytelling has actually put me in a place where, like, I have like a heightened sense of awareness. Anywhere I am now, I'm paying attention to what is happening around me. If I see a story, if I see something that can actually evolve into a full-blown story, I develop it. And when I tell it, I bring people in, and many of them relate to it. So storytelling is something you as a person can do in your dialect. And if you do in your dialect, if you are selling akwoche, if you are selling okrika, if you are selling anything you are selling, use your language. You sell and understand that internet is a very powerful tool. Be consistent. You do it today, nobody watches you. Do it tomorrow. Do it next week. I can guarantee one day, one video can actually go viral. And once it goes viral, people will now come to a page to see, let me know what this guy does. And once they come, that video you did from that very first day, you see the views increasing. Believe in yourself, my man. Believe in yourself. I said something earlier. If you don't believe in anything, you can fall for anything. Believe in yourself. We are all created like differently. Our mind has a way of processing things in front of us. If you understand the power you have as an individual, knowing that you are limitless once it comes to you having to use your mind, you can do anything. Before I started making storytelling, I struggled for many years coming out because I'm thinking, if I come out now, will they listen? If I tell stories now, will they feel it? Too many of those things, I battled with my mind. And the amount of messages on my DM, people telling me how I've been able to encourage them with my stories, how I've been able to, give them courage. I'm like, so it be like this. So you as the person can be at the receiving end of such DM messages. If you as the person decide to take that bold step and do storytelling in your language. God gave me the grace to speak English well. And if I tell you that I don't even know how I learned how to speak English, I don't even know. I just grew up and realized I can speak English. I don't even know that. Now God grace. So that one is still what He gave me. But God's own might not actually be English for you. Might actually be in soccer. But I also got it there. You know, my guy, go talk about Le Johnson on the panye. Them go talk about Le Johnson. I blow my mind. You are embodying characters. You are actually trying to give expressions, and most times, these expressions that come from your heart make a lot of sense because these things come from your depth, from emotions, and that thing is easily expressed. So find where you are comfortable with. Own it with your whole heart. Give yourself 2 to 3 or 6 months. And when you look back to where you started from, you realize that people had actually come to you because they see you as somebody that adds value to their life, either through humor, either through inspiration, through encouragement. But there's a certain level of value that you can actually offer, and people will come at you. And let me say this one, like I think on a summary. Don't go begging people for anything. Let me put it out there. The only way for you to become something that people will come at you is, Baba, if it takes you going inside for 2-3 months to work on yourself, go and do that. And I can guarantee you, Be of value. Those persons that you think that need you can actually like person that you think that you need who actually wants to need. In fact, they will need you because they now see that you have something of value to give. I'm telling you, bro. On TikTok, like one of these popular celebrities, I know we could call the name, came on TikTok and followed me. He even sent me a DM. When I saw it, I'm like, wait, oh, no, but this guy, why they? It was him truly, and the guy was telling me, guy, you're doing a great job. I'm like, okay, and that is when I realized that, Baba, anything you're looking for is in your hand, it's in front of you. The best way to grow is self-development. Sometimes it's important just shut your ears. Develop one. You tell yourself, in the next 3 months of my life, what I'm doing the next 3 months of my life is becoming a good like look for anything you want to be good at. Give it 3 months. And like I said, like, repetition is the power. If you repeat something over time, it becomes a part of you. Whether it's something negative or positive, once it's repeated over time, it stays here. It's important that we understand the power of our minds. And then again, distractions. If you find yourself in a place where too many persons around you are not really, awakening you to get better, when they disconnect, they are okay for your own good. When they wow, time are they check on wow. And once you are growing, once you start elevating, when you start growing that ladder of life, you see that people that are there, you met them like, oh, but this guy don't sabi, you connect with them. The more you are growing, you connect with people, and once you get that networking thing, you realize that things become easier. And by then, anything you do becomes like a trend. You can see how many of them began to. The Sabinus can actually come and bring team. Sabinus, yeah, Sabinus, Brain Jota. All these guys began from somewhere, but then they struggled. But the consistency they kept putting in all they were doing got them to where they are today. Now, many of them are brand ambassadors and are doing well. You too, as a person, can do it. While you're thinking of ways to grow your business, learn something from me today. Try storytelling. It mustn't be in English. You can either use Pidgin, Igbo, Hausa, or Yoruba. The advantage to give is that since you can actually get people from English, use the people that you can get from your own language. Use them. At least like, as in, like make you not lose everything. Get people that can hear your own language. Eh? You be mad the person because you say, where you dey? I dey Aba. Maybe the person's site might be in Owerri or Omahia. But the person would not actually want to care about the logistics as long as like his spirit is connected to you. It's okay. It doesn't matter how much with the motor, 300. Just make sure that is the power you have as a person leveraging on social media.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for this lesson. The last 1 hour has been so amazing. He said something here which I need to emphasize. He said, find the language you are more comfortable in and use it in your storytelling. So don't try to say, oh, I just want it to be in English when you are more comfortable in Yoruba. Don't do that. Don't limit yourself. Start from what you already have. If you're able to build an audience for yourself, let me even tell you something interesting about social media. Even if you don't know how to speak English very well, own it. Let's say you want to really use English, but you have a way of using, should I use cut and join English? Own it. If it's Igbo language that you can do very well, own it. The moment you're able to build that audience of people that speak that same language with you can begin to evolve, you can begin to expand to reach out to other people. And in fact, the funny thing is that some of the people that don't hear your language will still follow you and be looking for who will interpret it for them in the comment section. So whatever you want to do, give yourself time to grow. Like he said, give yourself 3 months. I always say it's 90 days. There's a whole lot you can achieve. You can work on yourself consistently for 90 days. Even when I teach you blogging, I let you know that this thing is not a get-rich-quick business, but if you give yourself time and grow it, you will see results. There is nothing you do in life that there is no result in, especially if you put in the time. So look at what other people are doing. If they are successful doing it, if they are using storytelling to establish themselves, build their business, you too can as well copy the same storytelling skill. Ask yourself, what are some of the, like he said here, he said when he goes into an environment, when he looks at different things, he develops stories from them. So it makes you become attentive to your environment. Anywhere you are picking what people are not saying. So when others are busy just having fun, you are picking information, you are picking ideas, you are picking words, you are picking stories that you can expand on. And of course, as you're expanding it, my interest is that you use it in growing your business. So look for a way. What is the connecting point? How can you connect this story to your business? How can you connect this story to your business? That will be your mindset. So any story you want to talk about, think of how you can connect it to your business. If you do that very well, there is no way you will not find a connecting point. There's always, even if it's a sad story, there's always a connecting point. Whatever you do, there's a connecting point. You can connect it to your business. So when you do this thing consistently, you see your business transformed. You see your business grow. You see results. So I want to really thank Light for sharing so much information with us here. Like I said when we started, if you are looking for someone that can do voiceover for you in whatever language, whether it's in Igbo, in English, in Usoka, in Ibibio, let's say your audience are people from Akwa Ibom and Calabar, so you are looking for someone that can interpret it in a way that they can connect with. And when he spoke, when he used the Aba intonation, I fell off. Because what he said is actually true. If you see someone from O2 like Onisha now talking, you there's this way of salutation they give. Once I see that, now I will laugh. So imagine he's trying to create a video content for you, and your target audience are people from Anambra, and he does that thing for you just that same way that your audience will find it interesting. Why wouldn't they buy your product? Like we always say on this platform, that people will buy from who they know, like, and trust. And what will make them to know you is when you show yourself out there, when you put yourself out there. So when you get someone like him to do a video, create a video content for your product, people will see you, people will see your product. When they begin to connect with you based on the words he's using, emotional connection, they will trust whatever you are promoting and they will buy. Once you get these three things, know, like, and trust, there is nothing that will stop them from buying from you except they don't have the money with them. So I want to encourage us, please, today, as you go into your business, try to inculcate storytelling in your business. We call it story selling. Think of the stories that has happened. In fact, what I always teach my students, that think of what happened to you throughout the day. Look at your business. What are some of the things that has happened to you? What are the experiences that your customers have had in the past that you can convert to a story? What did you experience when you went to the market to buy a particular thing? You can tell a story about that thing. Your biggest failure in business, tell a story about it. How you transformed. What happened when you began to evolve in your business? Tell the story. You have many stories to tell in your business. In fact, our life is full of stories. Every day of your life, there is a story to tell. So when you do that consistently, people will begin to connect to you. And as they connect to you, it's a matter of time they will buy from you. He says something here, someone can buy products from you. Let's say the person is based in Enugu. He will feel more comfortable buying from you here in Lagos than buying from someone in Enugu because he has an emotional connection with you. So your location is no longer a barrier. Don't say, oh, the reason why my business is not growing is because I'm not in Lagos, I'm not in Abuja, I'm not in Port Harcourt, I'm not in Enugu. That's why my business is not growing. No, that's not why. The reason why your business is not growing is because you've not been able to build a sort of emotional connection with your audience. The audience you are trying to target, you've not built emotional connection. And the fastest way to do that is through the use of storytelling. Before we round up, let me check if you have more questions while I welcome new people. Oji, you're welcome. Victor, you're welcome. Ajulu, you're welcome. Ogechi, you're welcome. Comfort, you're welcome. Israel, you're welcome. Okay, Macy, Nelson, you're welcome. Glad to have you here. Esther, you're welcome. Adeleke Samuel, you're welcome. Glad to have you here. Godwin, you're welcome. Frederick, you're welcome. Okay, Anko Lami, you're welcome. Glad to have you here. God's time, you're welcome. Glad to have you here. So, please, next week we'll still have something similar like this. I want to sincerely thank, I don't think there's any question here. I want to thank Light, Man for All Season, for being a part of what we are doing on this platform. Please, if you've not followed his account, you see I tagged him on this page. Follow him so that you can learn from him. As you listen to his stories, you might get inspiration for yourself. As you listen to his stories, you can get inspiration for yourself. You can always come back to watch this video. I will leave it on my timeline so that more people can watch and learn from what he taught us today. Thank you so much, Light. Thank you for taking your time for being a part of what we are doing here and blessing us immensely with your knowledge.
Emenike, thank you so much for giving me this platform. Let me say something. I've always wondered like how like I'm going to touch lives positively, and for me, it's not just maybe only about the money. I mean, to me, life, a fulfilling life is one where like you actually leave something behind, and I've always wanted that. So this is a platform that I'm grateful for, and to anyone that came here, my prayer is that your intentions of coming here, like you achieve it, and give yourself a chance to fail, and don't stay down. When you fail, learn from whatever that kept you down or that pulled you down. Get up and don't make the same mistake again. That is how many of us got to where we are. Don't be afraid to fail. Pushing can only get better. Just give yourself a timeline and you see what God is doing. So I want to say thank you for this platform, and finally, it's important that as a man, in anything you are doing, like have this consciousness of spirituality. It helps. It helps. Spirituality, it helps, because if hey, Adeze, hi, greetings. Thank you for joining. If you understand that everything that happens around you, like is spiritually, provoked, that consciousness puts you in a position where you've solved like 60% of your problem. Yes, if you have that consciousness that everything around you, like let's say 7% of it are spiritually provoked, a lot is going to fall in line. So I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me here today. And Emenike, bro, thank you, man. Lagos theater, Kena Koroda way, but no wahala. Like I say, one day,
All right.
Adeze, you joined us late, so thank you all the same for joining. And for everybody, you guys have a safe night rest. This is the man for us in Light Egbujie. I am Light Egbujie. I guess
Thank you
I'll see you
so much.
next time.
All right. See you next time.
Right.